Okay, it is 5 o'clock, so we will go ahead and call this session of the Jackson County Board of Education to order. As our custom, we will take the very first part of this meeting to have some silent reflection or prayer for things that are going on in our community and a lot of decisions that we have to make here as a board. And we definitely need support and guidance from all that we can get. So if you'll bow with me, please, for a second, we'll take on the prayer and reflection. Thank you. First on the agenda is to consider a motion to approve the agenda as it is presented. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds that. Any discussion? Then we'll move to a vote on approving the agenda. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, and that motion carries. Under general business, A, consider motion for any corrections, additions, or deletions to the May the 3rd, 2018 work session and the May the 17th, 2018 board meeting minutes. I think those look pretty good, so I'll make a motion to approve those minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Story seconds that. Any discussion? Hearing none, then we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, and those minutes have been approved. At this time, we're going to have a report by the examiners, by the state examiner's office on our system audit, school audit, and this is not a question and answer session. This is a presentation, and so we're going to turn it over to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. In accordance with the Code of Alabama, Section 1613A-7, which is commonly referred as the School Fiscal Accountability Act, I'm here to present our audit report on the Jackson County Board of Education for the period October 1st, 2016 through September 30th, 2017. We conducted our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, government auditing standards, for the purpose of rendering an opinion on the financial statements and to determine whether the board complied with applicable audit laws and regulations. We also conducted an audit of the board's federal financial assistance programs in accordance with the provisions of the Uniform Administrative Requirements, cost principles, and audit requirements, which is referred to as the Uniform Guidance. We issued an unmodified opinion on the board's financial statements. This means that the financial statements are presented fairly in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. We also noted no matters to indicate that the board had not complied in all material respects with applicable laws and regulations. In addition, we issued an unmodified opinion on the board's major federal financial assistance programs, which this year were the Child Nutrition Cluster and the Special Education Cluster. However, we did have a couple of findings in the audit report, and they are as follows. Internal Revenue Service regulations require the board to issue a Form 1099 to every person not employed by the board who provides services in an amount of $600 or more. At the local schools, a Form 1099 was not always issued to individuals who provided services that exceeded $600. The financial procedures for local schools as provided by the Alabama Department of Education contains guidelines for school concessions. These guidelines require an inventory of items purchased, items sold by sales price, and items unsold to be reconciled to the cash collected and be maintained for all school concession activities. These inventory procedures were not always performed at the local schools. As a result, no inventory information was available for review. The financial procedures for local schools as provided by the Alabama Department of Education contains guidelines for school-related organizations. These guidelines require concession activities for booster organizations to be under the control of the school principal if the organization operates a concession on school property at a school function. Concession activities at several local schools were operated by the school's booster clubs on school property. However, the financial activities are maintained outside of the school's financial records. Therefore, these financial activities are not under the control of the school principal. And if you have any findings on any of these, you're asked to contact our Montgomery office. Thank you.
Thank you. Under item C, we have a motion to approve the financials for May 2018. The note on that says that the total payroll expenditures were $3,810,977.52, and the total non-payroll expenditures were $716,647.63. Mr. Middleton, is there anything, he may be out.
He stepped out with
Okay. If he needs to clarify, he can do that once he gets back. But that is the motion with our financials. We have and we'll now entertain a motion to approve those.
I move to approve the financials for May.
Okay, Mr. West makes a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Story seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll move to a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. And those financial statements have been approved. Item D, the new board policy updates. We actually had this discussion in our work session, and Mr. Dukes explained this new board policy to us. And the board is actually contracted with a firm that has looked at our board policy and has trimmed that back. Yesterday, they had probably their second or third meeting, I think.
third meeting.
Third meeting with our folks in Jackson County, and our principals were there, and they kind of explained the process and what was taking place there. So we're going to table this. Jana has printed us a copy of that new policy that we're going to be considering along with the existing policy. So we have some board members that are going to take a look at that and kind of cross-reference and see. But we're not doing away with everything that we've done in the past as far as policy goes. Some of that policy is going to be moved over to a procedures manual. So that's in a nutshell what we're talking about here. So we have that to be tabled until our next meeting. Under item E, we have to consider a motion to purchase 5 new maintenance trucks at a price of $34,138 each for a total of $170,690. $170,690. We'll do that one more time. I think that second one sounded better. So we actually received these. Mr. Kirby, you are there. Okay, and these are state bid.
Yes, sir. State bid, Tennessee Automotive, had state bid. We bought one last year for, I think it was 33. I think it went up $500. That
Okay.
was from bid letters. That was the cost. Went up from the.
Pretty much outrigging it. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we saw from last year, like I said, with just a slight increase.
And we've had these, I think, since 2000 or 2001 is what Landon said.
We had
So,
some 97s. We had some 2002.
so we've had them a while, and our maintenance guys have done an outstanding job. Our transportation guys keeping these on the roads with 400,000 miles, 350,000 miles, because they are all over the county every day. So this is much needed and money well spent.
Okay. So we will now entertain a motion to purchase these 5 new maintenance trucks.
I'll make a motion to buy the maintenance truck.
Story makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Yes, seconds that. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Middleton,
Yes, sir.
can we afford this?
Well, because it's coming out of capital funds as opposed to the general fund, we're in a lot better shape. And actually, they have about the same amount of capital funds and the general fund, but we're not under any mandate with the state to maintain one a month operating in the capital funds. And I don't think that there really is a lot of choice. We're going to have to do something because we've got these vehicles that are getting over 350,000. We're going to start having potential liability problems. You know, someone gets hurt, or it's time to do something. So that's we're just kind of forced into it. But we do have capital funds available.
Thank you, Mr. Middleton. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, then we will move to a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, and the motion carries. We have instructional technology specialist job description. And that has been, I think it's been emailed, right? Jenna, that has been emailed to us. Sorry? There's a hard copy up here? Okay. Yep, it's in our packet there. So we will consider this, and we will table this until our next meeting. At that point in time, we will look at moving on that. Since we're tabling, I don't think we don't think we need to vote on that. So we're going to table this, and we will consider that at our next meeting. Under item G, consider a motion to set aside the new bus zone line for Woodville and Skyline schools at Mount Nebo Church. We discussed this in our work session, and just a quick explanation. We found that to be our most central location to keep bus routes to be in close to the same amount of time. So we're trying to minimize bus time for students to their home. Yeah, Jenna, if you want to, I'll read that. Jenna doesn't want me to ramble, so she hands me this. So the new school zone, bus zone line for Woodville and Skyline High Schools will be established along Alabama Highway 65 at Mount Nebo Baptist Church. All roads and bus stops along Highway 65 north of Mount Nebo Baptist Church, which were previously zoned for Paint Rock Valley School, will now be zoned for Skyline High School. All roads and bus stops along Highway 65 south of Mount Nebo Baptist Church, previously zoned for Paint Rock Valley High School, will now be zoned for Woodville High School. And we're actually allowing students who live in the southern portion to attend Skyline. If they choose to do so, they can meet the bus at Mount Nebo, and those details are being worked out. Same for students living north of Mount Nebo. If they choose to go to Woodville, we're going to allow that to happen as well. So we're trying to accommodate as just as best as we can. So, and we're going to try to communicate all that to our parents that live in Paint Rock Valley so that they all know and everybody's clear.
But go ahead and tell them that they can't ride the bus to meet.
Yeah, Mr. West wants me to mention that if someone lives in the northern zone, they couldn't ride the bus to Mount Nebo. They couldn't ride the Skyline bus to Mount Nebo and then get on a Woodville bus. They would have to be transported by a parent. So, or find their way there, and then they could get on either bus they choose. So that is what we have for our bus zones, and we will consider that as a motion. Do we have a motion to approve that new school bus zone?
Maybe we accept the described bus zone line for Woodville and Skyline.
Okay. Mr. Kent makes that a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Guess seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hopefully we explained that well enough. We'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, and that motion carries. Under personnel actions, we have resignations. We have to consider a motion to accept the resignation of Leanna Johnson as a countywide instructional aide effective May the 25th, 2018. I'll make that motion. For a second.
Second.
Okay, Dr. Guest seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, then we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Under B, we have considered a motion to accept the resignation of Jody Griffith as C&P worker at Section High School effective May the 25th, 2018.
I make a motion to approve item B.
Mr. Story makes a motion to approve that resignation. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Consider a motion to accept the resignation of Danette Townsend as a teacher at North Sun Mountain effective June the 28th, 2018. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Dr. Guest seconds. Any discussion? Then we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, and that motion carries. D, consider a motion to accept the resignation of Emily McCarson as a pre-K aide at Hollywood effective June the 28th, 2018.
I make that move.
Mr. Gant makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Story seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Under retirements, we have A, consider a motion to approve the retirement of Betty Eichert as a countywide bus driver effective June the 1st, 2018.
I make that motion.
All right, Dr. Guess makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Story seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, then we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Item B, consider a motion to approve the retirement of Sandy Kirby as a countywide bus driver effective July the 1st, 2018.
I make that move.
Mr.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Gant makes a motion. Dr.
She a-
Guess seconds that.
She a
Do we
bus
have
driver?
discussion?
I thought she was lunchroom worker.
She's bus driver.
Bus driver.
Oh,
Oh,
We're gonna make sure we get the right one. Don't want any surprises, so this is the bus driver. So we will move to vote. Mr. West?
yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Under C, we have consider a motion to approve the retirement of Dolores Patterson as secretary at Section High School effective August the 1st.
I make the move, we accept the retirement.
Okay.
Second.
Mr. Story makes a motion. Mr. Gant seconds that. Is there any discussion? Okay. Mr. West? We'll make a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that motion carries. We are into the transfers. The first item will be for Rosalie Principal. And Mr. West, I'm going to pass this one off to you to carry this one out, please.
Okay. You just gonna stay here?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay here, but
All right. A is consider a motion to transfer Doug Haynes from assistant principal at Woodville High School to principal at Rosalie School effective July the 1st, 2018. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion, we accept Mr. Haynes as principal at Rosalie.
We've got a motion. Second.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I'd like to discuss it a little bit. I've had a lot of emails, a lot of letters. Still been getting them up to 12 o'clock today. I hate to see Rosalie School split like it split. I had the alternative, but they didn't want to listen to that. We discussed that in the work session. So, any other discussion? I hate to see Rosalie School split, but we got to accept the committee's recommendation. Ready for a vote?
I understand the committee was unanimous 5-0, and that's the reason that I made the motion. That, I read the list of the committee, and it seemed like some knowledgeable people on it, so that's the reason I'm approving Mr. Haynes.
Any other discussion? We ready for a vote? Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Chad? Abstain?
yeah,
Mr. Story?
Yes.
And I'm going to abstain. Back to you, Chad.
that motion.
That motion carried, yeah.
Okay, we will move to B, and it is consider a motion to transfer Bill Shelton from his former principal position at Rosalie School to a 7-12 science teacher at Stevenson Middle School effective August the 1st. There's not 12 grades there, so Bill, it's gonna be 7 and 8, okay? Don't run crazy with this thing, so. But that is the motion to transfer Mr. Shelton from Rosalie as the principal to Stevenson Middle as a science teacher. And we appreciate your service at Rosalie. So having that, we will now entertain a motion.
Is this
I
an
make that
agreement
move.
between the principal and well, Mr. Sheldon is the principal?
Yes.
It's an agreement with him?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Gant made a motion, I believe, Mr. Gant, is that correct? Mr. Gant made that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Story seconds that. Is there any further discussion or questions? Okay, then we will move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Item C, consider a motion to transfer Tammy Guess from teacher at Stevenson Elementary School to countywide ARI coach effective August the 1st, 2018. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Story seconds. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, motion carries. D, consider a motion to transfer Ashley Edwards from a teacher at Paint Rock Valley High School to Woodville High School effective August the 1st, 2018.
I move to transfer Miss Edwards to Woodville.
Okay. Mr. West makes that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Under E, consider a motion to transfer Janet Watts from a teacher at Paint Rock Valley High School to Woodville High School effective August the 1st.
I move to transfer Miss Watts to Woodville.
Mr. West makes a motion. Is there a second? I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. F, consider a motion to transfer Scotty Ball from a teacher at Paint Rock Valley High School to Woodville High School effective August the 1st.
I move to transfer Mr. Ball to Woodville.
Mr. West makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds that.
I'd like to mention this real quick.
On this.
Yes. Just letting the crowd know that after the closure of Paint Rock Valley School, there were 4 teachers that were left that were tenured, and for this first year, we're placing them at Skyline or Woodville. They were given the option to go to Skyline or Woodville. So they had a choice for this first year, and anything could change after that with any teaching position, but they were allowed to choose which school that they were going to go to.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dukes. I should have probably let you know that earlier, but that carries for all those tenured employees, teachers anyway.
That's bus drivers, lunchroom workers, not.
Lunchroom workers, no, they went to the openings,
Okay.
and the bus drivers, they still have their routes.
Okay. So we have a motion. Mr. West made the motion to transfer Scotty Ball. Mr. Gant seconded that, and then we had a clarification statement from Mr. Dukes. So unless there's something else, we're going to move to a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Consider a motion to transfer Rachel Sis from a tech bus driver at Paint Rock Valley High School to the tech bus driver at Skyline effective August the 1st, 2018.
I'll move to transfer Miss Sis.
Mr. West makes that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds that. Any discussion? Move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. H, consider a motion to transfer Shannon Harris from C&P manager at Paint Rock Valley High School to an 8-hour C&P worker at Woodville High School effective August the 1st.
I'll move to transfer Miss Harris.
Mr. West makes a motion. I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Under I, consider a motion to transfer Darlene Evans from a C&P worker at Paint Rock Valley High School to a C&P worker at Woodville High School effective August the 1st.
I move to transfer Miss Evans to Woodville.
Mr. West makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Story seconds that. Is there any discussion? Then we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
And myself is yes, that motion carries. J, consider a motion to transfer Danielle Potts from a teacher at Paint Rock Valley High School to Skyline High School effective August the 1st, 2018.
I
I'd
move
like
to
to
transfer
move
Miss
that we
Potts to
transfer
Skyline.
Ms. Potts
Okay.
from Paint Rock Valley to Skyline.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Gant,
I'll
and
second.
Mr. West is gonna second that one. And is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, then we'll move to a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Okay, consider a motion to transfer Jennifer Melissa Hester from the lunchroom manager at Pisgah to the lunchroom manager at Flat Rock, effective August the 1st. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Story seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, motion carries. L, consider a motion to transfer Melissa Wheeler from a CNP worker at Pisgah to a CNP worker at Rosalie, effective August the 1st. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that motion carries. M, consider a motion to transfer Amanda Crawford from a 50% teacher at Bridgeport Elementary School to a full-time teacher at Bridgeport Elementary School, effective August the 1st.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Story makes a motion. Is there a second? Okay, Dr.
Second.
Guess is going to second that one. Any discussion? And then we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that motion carries. N, consider a motion to transfer Tangela Long from 11-month secretary at Skyline High School to an 11-month secretary at Section High School, effective August the 1st, 2018.
I move that we transfer Ms. Sloan from Skyline to Section.
Mr. Gant makes the motion.
Second.
Dr. Guest seconds that. Any discussion? And we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, and that motion carries. Consider a motion to transfer Brooke Crawford from a teacher at North Sand Mountain High School to the Family and Consumer Science teacher at North Sand Mountain High School, effective August the 1st.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Mr. Story will make that motion, and I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion? And we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
And myself is a yes, and that motion carries. Under employment and employee, A, consider a motion to employ Allison Gilbert as a 50% math teacher at Pisgah High School, effective August the 1st. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Dr. Guess seconds that motion. Is there any discussion? Then we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, the motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Amanda Freeman as a CNP worker at Flat Rock School, effective August the 1st.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Story makes that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Guest seconds that. Any discussion? We'll vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, motion carries. Consider a motion to employ April Ferguson as a CNP worker at Section High School, effective August the 1st. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Guest seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that motion carries. D, consider a motion to employ Sandra Everett as a CNP worker at Section High School, effective August the 1st, 2018.
I'll make the motion.
All right, Mr. Story makes that motion. I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion? We'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Under item E, consider a motion to employ Amber Wright as a CNP worker at Section High School, effective September the 1st, 2018.
I'll make the motion.
All right, Mr. Story makes that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Guest seconds that. Is there any discussion? We'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. And we had quite a few CNP workers to place this time, so. Under F, consider a motion to employ Ashley Parton as a teacher at Stevenson Elementary School effective August the 1st.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Story makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Guest seconds that. Is there any discussion? We'll move to a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Timothy Wilkinson as a countywide bus driver effective August the 1st. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Guest seconds. Any discussion? We'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Becky McCoy as a 33% middle school science teacher at Bridgeport Middle School effective August the 1st.
I'll make the motion to hire Mr. McCoy.
Second.
Mr. Story makes a motion. Dr. Guest seconds that. Any discussion? We'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Eric Ott as the welding instructor at Epcot effective August the 1st.
I make that move.
Mr. West makes the motion. I'll second that. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to make, yes, there's
Okay.
discussion. I'd like to make an amendment to that motion to give Mr. Ott a 10-month contract and also give the one lady that's not getting a 10-month up there, that's already working, 10-month contract, and anybody that's hired in the future in career tech, give them a 10-month contract.
So you want it
That's amendment to it. Give him a
After-
10-month contract.
after we have,
That is not my recommendation.
Yeah. Mr. Duke says that is not his recommendation at this time. Mr. Porter, what,
That's an amendment to the,
since we have approved that and approved the agenda without amendments,
My understanding that is the superintendent's recommendation, your amendment differs from his recommendation.
I made the,
Right.
I accepted his recommendation, but I made an amendment to it.
You can't amend his recommendation.
Mr. Gant, you pretty good Robert's Rules of Order. I thought anybody could have a friendly amendment to a motion.
You can't, but not his recommendation.
So they can understand.
All you can do is either approve or up or down his recommendation. His recommendation is for 9-month contract, and that goes up or down. So you can either vote it up or down. It's not a Robert's Rules of Order issue, it's a superintendent's recommendation issue. See what I mean?
So you're saying I can't make an amendment to his recommendation?
Correct.
All right, how could Dr. Guest make an amendment to the recommendation to close Paint Rock Valley School then?
That's not a personnel recommendation.
Mr.
All you can
Gant,
do is vote up or down his
You're-
recommendation.
you know more about these meetings than I do, Mr. Gant. Can you explain
I
that?
think I think the catch, Mr. West, is it's a superintendent recommendation, and we can't affect that.
I think what we can do from this is to ask the superintendent to consider moving those individuals who are not on 10-month contract to a 10-month contract on a future motion.
Yeah. You can vote it down and then come back if the superintendent recommends a 10-month contract, but you also can't amend, through this motion, you can't amend all the other contracts. I mean, that you just can't do that.
Well, you as a lawyer, you know we've already passed that in the past anyway. So how can he change it to a 9-month contract if we've already passed that in the board meeting?
That's his recommendation, you can vote it up or down. If you vote it down, we'll come back and look at it again.
Today?
If he makes that recommendation today, but right now we've got
I'm
the agenda
confused.
doesn't say 9 or 10.
I'm confused. We've made amendments before at this board.
Not the personnel recommendations, as far as I know.
Oh, it's just personnel recommendations. You can't,
Personnel recommendations have to come from the superintendent to the board.
you're saying that we just can't make personnel recommendations. Amendments.
Either vote them up or down.
But I think out of that discussion, Mr. West, that I think that we can get that we want, that you would like for Mr. Dukes to consider moving those folks who are 9-month instructors to a 10-month contract on a future recommendation. That's fair to say.
Yeah, but we can't get him to do that now.
I don't think so. He says that this
He could
is,
change his recommendation, couldn't he?
he says this is his recommendation, so, this is what we had to vote yes or no on. So at this time, we will do that. Mr. West?
No.
Mr. West votes no. Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. So Mr. Ott has been re-employed as a welding instructor. Item J, consider a motion to employ Jody Wright as a teacher at Hollywood School effective August the 1st, 2018. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Dr. Guest seconds. Is there any discussion? We'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
And myself is a yes, motion carries. K, consider a motion to employ Desiree Clark as a special education teacher at North Jackson effective August the 1st.
I make the motion.
Mr. Story makes a motion.
Second.
Dr. Guest seconds that. I marked the wrong one. Dr. Guest seconds that. Is there any discussion? We'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that motion carries. Under L, consider a motion to employ Charles Fike as a band and music teacher at North Jackson High School effective August the 1st.
Question. Is this the one that held the position last year?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. I'll make that motion to employ.
Before we do that, I'd like to hear from the principal about this hire.
What would you like to know?
About the band, how did it go about you picking this particular person?
It was the same way as, the same way we did last year. We had a committee, obviously the job was posted. We did a committee which included band boosters, Ms. Skillen.
Ms. Skillen had-
I met with each one individually, or myself, they met, and then we met together. And of course, it was this hire was unanimous among the committee and myself as far as the decision. Of course, it's my decision, but they were all very excited about this hire.
Ms. Gillen then was on the committee.
She was. Yes.
Thank you, that's what I want to know.
Thank you, Mr. Paradise. Is that a motion?
We got a motion from you.
All right, I made that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Story seconded that motion. Is there any further discussion? Then we will move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. M, consider a motion to employ Tanya Tabor as a math teacher at North Jackson High School effective August the 1st. I make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Story seconds that motion. Is there any discussion? Move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Item N, consider a motion to employ Charlie Morris as a teacher at North Jackson High School effective August the 1st. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Story seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Ronnie McCarver as a 50% PE teacher at Skyline High School effective August the 1st.
Make that move.
Mr. Gant makes a motion.
Second.
Dr. Guest seconds that. Is there any discussion? If we have no discussion, then Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself, yes, that motion carries. P, consider a motion to employ Hope Rusall as a 50% science teacher at Skyline High School effective August the 1st. make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds that. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Anna Benson as a special education teacher at Skyline, effective August the 1st. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Story seconds that. Is there any discussion? We'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that motion carries. R, consider a motion to employ Susan Smith as a secondary math teacher at North Sand Mountain High School effective August the 1st.
Make that motion.
I'll second the
Dr.
motion.
Guess makes a motion. Mr. Story seconds that. Is there any discussion? And we'll vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Seth Phelps as a secondary math teacher at North Sand Mountain High School effective August the 1st. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds that. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that motion carries. T, consider a motion to employ Jessica Owens as an elementary teacher at North Sand Mountain High School effective August the 1st. I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Guess seconds that. Any discussion? We'll vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that motion carries. Under U, consider a motion to employ Sherry McLaughlin as a pre-K aide at Section High School effective August the 1st. I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Guess seconds that. Any discussion? We will vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Anita Farmer as a 50% teacher at Bryant effective August the 1st.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Story makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds that. Is there any discussion? We'll vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Under coaching assignments, A, consider a motion to approve Cole Porter as a head baseball coach for North Jackson High School effective June the 29th, 2018. Do we have a motion? I'll go ahead and make
Did
that
we get-
motion.
Did we get a resignation from the other coach? Last year's coach?
I fired him tonight, Coach. No, I'm sorry, I have to check on that, but,
You have a vacancy for a head baseball
but I have
coach.
a vacancy for a head baseball coach. I told him to make sure it was turned in by tonight. I don't know if he did, but he didn't.
That's why I was asking the question.
Yeah.
I'd heard that he hadn't resigned yet.
Yeah, he was staying on to help in the summer, you know what I'm saying, till we
Right.
got this approved. So that was why, if it's not, you know, that was why.
Has this guy already passed all of his paperwork?
Yes, he was
His-
approved, he was employed by the board actually last year.
He was Pisgah
That's
last
right.
year. I'll make a motion then we can hire Mr. Porter.
Okay. All right, I had the motion, so Mr. Story, you gonna second that?
Yeah,
Okay. So is there any further discussion? He's good to go. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
yes.
Dr. Yes?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, and that motion carries.
I just want to make sure we didn't get in trouble. Somebody come up here and said they fired me and I didn't know anything about it.
Okay. That's good to check. I appreciate that. Under B, consider a motion to approve Desiree Clark as a volleyball coach for North Jackson High School effective June the 29th, I'm sorry. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Mr. Story seconds that. Under discussion, I'm just gonna go ahead and ask, Ms. Clark she's got her courses behind her association.
She's a new hire, and I've asked her to take that position, so that, you know, she won't do anything, so we could say pending on that. You know, she just got hired as special ed, teacher. And to be honest, I do not know, I know she has coached in the past, so.
She is
at her
coached.
previous school.
She coached in the past and she's got the credentials, so you'll make sure of that before first practice. Okay. We have a motion and a second, so we'll vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. C, consider a motion to approve Charlie Morris as assistant football coach at North Jackson High School effective June the 29th. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Story seconds that. Same thing with that one. You'll make sure and ensure that. Okay.
And I'm thinking this might be 7th and 8th grade, right?
Football position?
No, it's actually
Varsity?
assistant. Yeah, it's assistant football.
Is he one of your teachers, or is he?
Yeah, we hired him.
Okay, just hired, new
Yeah.
hire. Okay.
Can you say he hadn't passed his
He
work?
has. Yeah, he should be
Yeah,
good.
He's coached.
He's coached before.
Yeah, he helped us past year as a, he was, yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. We'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yeah.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Under announcements, I'm going to read these 5 under announcements together. We had some overnights field trips that were taken during the month of June. North Jackson High School varsity basketball team, they went to Camp Murfreesboro June 12th to June 14th. The second, North Jackson High School and North Sand Mountain High School went to National Convention in Savannah, Georgia from June 16th through June 20th. North Sand Mountain High School varsity cheer camp was in Panama City, Florida. That must have been a real struggle to get anybody to go to Florida. But they were there June 18th through the 22nd. Section High School varsity basketball camp went to Middle Tennessee State from June 18th to June 19th. And again, Section High School varsity basketball team went to camp in Birmingham Southern June 22nd through June 23rd. And those were announcements. As far as another announcement goes, we will be scheduling our July board meeting, somewhere around the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, in there. We've got it'll be 19th. Okay, we'll get that out to the media and we'll post that. Okay, yeah, it's not gonna be the 19th, but we'll get that out, and that is probably going to be pretty heavy as far as personnel hires go. So okay.
I went yesterday morning, I believe it was, maybe the day before, to Camp Maranatha with several of the FFA instructors. They have an outdoor seminar every summer. I was there at 6 o'clock and they were up drinking coffee, cooking breakfast. Mr. Moore from Pisgah's here. Mr. Moore, would you like to tell us any about that trip? I know y'all had several speakers and everything else, and I hate to put you on the spot, but it's something to brag about.
We usually carry around 5 students from each school, and we go to Camp Maranatha and stay Monday through Thursday, and it is from 7 o'clock in the morning until a lot of times 11 o'clock at night. Those kids are going and doing. We have speakers from Mr. Harmon came and spoke. Was it last night that you were there? We have all kinds of different speakers from the State Department of Conservation to sheriff's deputies, Assistant District Attorney Benson came and spoke with them. And then we go out and do stuff. We went to the Bat Cave and got to see 250,000 bats come out. We went to Cathedral Caverns this morning, got to take a tour of it, and it's just an action-packed thing. The kids love it, and we had a really good time.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
When you take your kids out into the light, where you going? I might have that they just made. Dream. I was a preacher and a teacher. Time, life
Mr. Smith, he spent a lot of time and a lot of sweat in our ag program at North Jackson. He's touched a lot of lives, so we appreciate him for that. And sometimes
Mr. McCoy's been a big help.
That's right, Mr.
We
McCoy. They
appreciate that.
kind of took Brad under their wing a little bit. Brad was one of the two teachers that we had in the county that took the practice exam and went over to teaching ag. And I never had any doubts that Brad wouldn't excel, and he has done a great job. He was put on the spot to speak, but didn't see that he hesitated much. So Shannon, I don't know if that's to your credit or not, but we appreciate Brad. Okay, doesn't have any problem talking. Yeah, but ag is alive and well in Jackson County, and we're proud of that too. So alive and well. So if there's nothing else, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Mr. Gant makes that motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Story seconds that. Then all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No, then we are now adjourned. Thank you for coming.